Hello, everybody. I like setting the stage with lo-fi music. I wish elevators would start playing lo-fi music instead of Muzak or whatever it is they play nowadays. A student in 3B asked me to do some extra practice problems for the heck of it. So thanks to that student, I'll do a video on extra practice problems for your tests. That's Monday/Tuesday. Yeah. This is already your quiz, so I'm going to work through number 4 just for the practice. So I'll leave it up. I suggest you pause it, try to do it yourself, and then press play or something. Describe, and behavior. I feel like I did these already. Actually, yeah, this, I'm not very creative. This and this was on, I'm not going to say anything. No, your quiz was due Friday, so this and this were on your quiz, so, yeah. Okay, so, in behavior, as x goes, so as x goes towards negative infinity, f of x tends towards, once you do enough of these, that's sort of what it is. As x tends towards negative infinity, f of x tends towards negative infinity, f of x also tends towards negative infinity. Yeah. As x tends towards negative infinity, f of x tends towards, as x tends towards negative infinity, or positive infinity, sorry, f of x tends towards, okay, as x tends towards negative infinity, the whole function goes towards positive infinity. Focus. Okay, the whole function goes towards positive infinity. There's nothing wrong against doing a plus infinity. Generally, it's just infinity, but if you just want to make sure, or if you make a mistake, put a plus infinity, it's okay. As x tends towards positive infinity, this is slightly different. The function doesn't go towards positive or negative infinity. There's a horizontal asymptote. It wants to become this number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Y equals 6, or negative 6. So as x tends towards positive infinity, the whole function, f of x, which is nothing but a fancy name for y, tends towards negative 6. Here, as x tends towards negative infinity, f of x tends towards negative 1. As x tends towards positive infinity, f of x tends towards negative 1 as well. I already did that for the quiz. I'm sort of bored with doing that. But you guys get it. Pause it or do whatever you need to review it. All that good stuff. For the heck of it, I'll do the domain and range too, just for the practice of it all. So let me zoom out to give some students an opportunity. These are the answers. I'm going to do domain range down here just so it's neater. I might as well do domain and range for these as well. The domain here, all real numbers. The range, y is less than or equal to whatever this number is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have a relative maximum at 7. Here, the domain is all real numbers. Again, you can do from negative infinity to positive infinity, or x is in the set of all real numbers. The range is not all real numbers. The range is y is greater than, what was that, negative 6. I'm not going to make the assumption that it becomes negative 6. I would need the actual function. I'm thinking the actual function might be 2 raised to the x minus 6, because it looks like the parent function 2 raised to the x minus 6. But in order to tell if it actually ever equals 6, set it equal to 6. Technically speaking, as x goes towards infinity, as x goes towards negative infinity, it becomes 0. As x gets bigger and bigger, it gets smaller and smaller. So actually speaking, it looks like it's also reflected over the y-axis, so I'll put a negative sign here. So as x goes towards infinity, it's really like going towards negative infinity. Hence, this becomes 0 because it gets smaller and smaller. And we're left with 6. But just because it gets smaller and smaller, if we take the limit is -6. But doesn't mean it'll actually be -6. It could be -6 point an octillion zeros and then a 1, which technically isn't -6. So for this case, I'm just going to leave it as the range y is greater than -6, but not equal to. Here, the domain's all numbers except x cannot. So you could just say x cannot equal 0, or you could do negative infinity 0 parentheses union 0 positive infinity. The range is this for all numbers. Something's going on at -1. Generally speaking, I don't think there's really anything going on. It looks like it's the parent function where it's 1 divided by x, and we shifted it down 1 unit. Now, this also tends towards 0, but it's never going to actually be 0. 1 divided by an octillion isn't 0, but it might as well be 0 as far as we're concerned. But it doesn't mean it'll necessarily actually be -1. So I'll do negative for the range, domain, range, domain, range, domain, range. The range could be negative infinity to -1, parentheses, union, -1 to positive infinity. I'm okay with that for the range. I'll go ahead and do 1 for those of you that maybe want to practice for domain and range. 1, 2, and 3. And we already had a quiz for this, so yeah, we already have a quiz for this. Domain range. The domain would be all real numbers except for, what's that, 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So x cannot equal 5, or negative infinity 5, union 5, positive infinity. The range would be all numbers, because yes, when y is 2, it doesn't exist here, but it exists here and here. So the range would be y is in the set of all real numbers. The domain, all numbers except for -2. X can't equal -2. The range, y is greater than 0. I'm going to make the assumption that won't ever actually equal 0. However, if it's up there like that, there's a squared function. I think that's the parent. I think that's 1 divided by x squared. It's been a while. Let me graph 1 divided by x squared to verify. See, even Stevens, 1 divided by x squared. Yeah. So it turns everything positive. However, it still will never be 0. 1 divided by, I don't know. Let me see what else. Why not? Why not? Right. 10 Mississippi. Let's see. The calculator. Oh, the calculator didn't freak out completely. It'd be nice if you could see it, wouldn't it? I'm doing this for the heck of it. It's late Saturday night. Why not? I'm a little silly. Again, 1 divided by x squared, even Stevens because it's x squared. Compared to the parent function, 1 divided by x, which looks like that. For the heck of it, I wanted to see what is 1 divided by 8, and I just kept pressing 0. I wasn't even counting. I have no idea. I didn't even sing a song. But 1.25 times e negative 39, again, for those that don't know that scientific notation, that is the same thing as 1.25 times 10 raised to the negative 39 power, which tells us we move this decimal point 39 places to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 1, 2, 5. That's still not 0, folks. However, if you're to the point where you are, let me stop. It's not 0 technically. I feel like I'm on a Reddit link, one of those technically true links. Why am I here? Oh, because the range is y is greater than 0. Y will never be 0. in real, in practical terms, it might as well be 0, but technically it never will actually be 0. So that's why it's there. Okay, domain. Domain. Algebra 1 level skill set we're having a review here because some of you, but please practice domain and range. Please understand and know domain and range for my sake, please. It's pre-calculus and it's an algebra 1 level skill set. Okay, the domain, x is instead of all real numbers. The range y is less than whatever negative number that is, less than -1. Less than or equal to because it's included here. That's it, that's it, that's it, that's it, that's it. I never want to do domain and range again this year for pre-calculus because it's domain and range. Guys, it's domain and range. Okay. This is the same thing. I did my x tends towards negative infinities first. They did their x tends towards positive infinities. It's the same thing. Okay. Oh, wow. 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 I got to do domain and range again. But some of you guys on that domain and range quiz did not do very well on that domain and range quiz. So I will do it for your sakes because I'm nice like that. But please learn from this. I don't like having to cover domain and range of pre-calculus because it's an algebra 1 level skill. I really don't like having to cover domain and range of pre-calculus. Get over it, Reese, and just cover it. Function. I don't know what function that is. Oh, I know what function that is. I'm going to be slick. So y equals x squared looks like that. Hence, x equals y squared looks like that. But it goes on forever. So I don't know what would force it to stop other than we are restricting the domain. So I'm going to say this is x equals y squared. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm creating a function. They're asking us if it is a function or not. But that's fun. I'm going to keep that. But it's not a function because it fails the vertical line test. It is a function, passes the vertical line test. It is a function, passes the vertical line test. Domain from, at least this is an interesting domain. 1, 2, 3, -3 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to +5. X is greater than or equal to -3 and x is less than or equal to 5. You can also do up here, bracket, oh, that looks horrible. Bracket, -3, comma 5, bracket, because it includes it. Range, so 1, 2, 3, 4, -4, y, 1, 2, 3, 4, +4. Technically, you could also do the range bracket -4, comma 4, as long as it's listed under the range. I just like seeing y posted to remind me it's the range and not the domain. The domain, this is a periodic function, looks like some sort of transformation on this cosine function. Looks like the cosine function was reflected over the x-axis. So maybe negative cosine theta or negative cosine x, however they're going about it. But the domain is x is in the set of all real numbers. The range, it's periodic, so it's between 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the range would be -3, y, 3. When we talk about periodic functions and sine functions, this is sound waves. Sound waves make sound, so this will be the amplitude. So if the traditional cosine, the parent function, the amplitude is between -1 and 1. Amplitude is volume, so if it's up 3. So if this is between -1 and 1, it's la. Amplitude of 3, la. I'm sorry if you had your headphones on. I sincerely apologize. I should have warned you. By amplitude, you crank the volume up 3 times as loud. Right now, as I'm talking, my larynx and pharynx, or whatever that is, I'm not a biologist, takes the air I'm pushing through and shapes and augments it into sound waves so you can hear me, and then our ears process it. If you think about it, it's an extremely complex thing that we just do, like nothing. Meanwhile, so generally speaking, stop being jealous of superhumans, stop being jealous of mutants, teleport, telekinesis, beings. We can hear. Quick question. It's late Saturday night. I'm doing this because I said I would do it Saturday, but I don't feel like doing this, and I'm silly. It's 11:50 at night. Would you give up hearing so you can like teleport? Because technically, hearing is a very complicated skill, and we can just do it. There's people now who can't hear that. I'm going to stop and I'm going to proceed. My apologies, sincerely. My sincerest apologies. More domain and range. The domain's every number except for -1. Can't equal -1. The range, every number except for 1, 2, well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Every number except for -4. So y can't equal -4. That's it. There's other ways to do domain and range. You got it. Something more interesting, please. These are some of the answers. Take screenshots or what have you. Hooray. I did hear y can't equal -4. I did hear x can't equal -2. Did I do -2 or did I? Oh, well, shame on me. Oh, no, that should be -1. So that should be -1. I'm not that bad. No one would expect you to know that's 2 unless it's labeled. There's typos, such as life. So that should be -1. We have this, just letting you know what's going on. I'm going to work through this, and I'm going to do, I might as well do one of these and one of these, and then that's it. Even though you have the answers, to this. I probably won't do this. You have the answers to this, and I'm tired. But I'll do these because you don't have the answers to this and you've never seen this. So here we go. Given the graph P of x, carefully and accurately graph the function. So it looks like we're reflecting it over the y-axis and translating it down 3 units. I could write that out, but I don't want to. Reflecting it over the y-axis, translating down to 3 units. You need to know this. I know this already. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I did that. Yeah. Voila. There we go. All right. It's reflected over the y-axis because I'm multiplying my x values by -1. And then I essentially subtract 3 from all my y values, translating it down 3 units. 1. Oh, because I reflected it. So technically I have to go 1, 2, shame. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's there. 1, 2, 3. It's there. Okay, that's it. Here, this is the inverse. P, when the -1's there, it's the inverse. I'm going to sketch the diagonal line, y equals x. Don't judge me. I have a barbecue container here because I had some McNuggets a week or so ago. I'm on a diet, and I wanted to get some McNuggets, but I'm proud of myself. I didn't get McNuggets. This won't work. The cellophane's not that strong. Let's go this route. Or whatever that is. That's not cellophane, but I don't know what that is. Whatever it is, it's probably not recyclable. Me not eating nuggets will help save the environment. Is it me or does the barbecue sauce in those little packets taste better than the actual barbecue sauce in the bottle? Why is that? Someone should start a blog, Late Night Philosopher. Because when people are tired, but they have to be up, they start pontificating on life's sweet mysteries. Y equals X. Okay. It's my fault. I should have done this earlier in the day. Shame on me. Why am I drawing the line y equals X? Because, again, if this is f of x, the coordinates for all of f of x are x comma y. P of x. If this is p of x, the coordinates of p of x are x comma y. The inverse of P of X, the coordinates are Y comma X. So I'm literally switching around the coordinates. It actually will be to my benefit to write them because I'm afraid of making careless mistakes. So I have 4 comma 1, 3 comma -2, -1 comma 4, -1, 2, 3, 4, -1 comma -4, and then -4 comma 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the inverse's coordinates are going to be 1 comma 4, -2 comma 3, -4 comma 1, 2 comma -4. Make sure I didn't make careless mistakes. I'm glad I checked that. That's why I always switch, 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 switch. 1, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, -1. I did that wrong. I ignored the negative sign. No, I did that right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I did that right. Not that bad. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. How was this? Okay. Bam, 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 bam. It looks weird, but that's it. Now, granted, ignore my human error because it's not exactly on the coordinate. Maybe it probably should be more like that. But look at how it intersects. Look at that point of symmetry. So if it was, if I did the inverse like the computer was here, this point of symmetry would be here. This point of symmetry would be here. This point of symmetry, this point of symmetry. But you can sort of tell what it is. It's reflected over this diagonal line. So it's like I took this and flipped it over the line. So notice you have this long bar here. It's now just this lonely bar here. We have bam, bam, bam. We have bam, bam, bam. If it looks off, it's because I did it by hand and it's not the computer. But that's all you do to graph the inverse of the function. I'll discuss these because I don't feel like doing them. This is, it's not on an actual page, but it's numbers 19 and 21 from your study guides. Remember, if you see something like 21 on your test, I'm going to go ahead and give you the graph. I have to figure out a way to get you the graph so I can evaluate it. But right now, I'm just going to give this to you and we're going to just focus on doing these. So vertical stretch by 3, definitely, because it's outside the function. In this case, the function, it looks like the parent function is x cubed because it's cubed. So if I wrote this in function notation, it would be -3 f of 1/2 x plus 7. So it's a vertical stretch by a factor of 3. We're multiplying the y values by 3. We're also multiplying the y values by -1, so it's going to be a reflection over the x-axis. Multiplying the x values by 2, so it's going to be a horizontal stretch. That should not be 3, that should be 2. Hopefully, if you did it, you caught it. There's a lot of errors in here, but they're not that deep. Reciprocal 1/2 is 2. There's no reason why that should be 3, so it's just a typo. And then up 7 units, translate up 7 units. Number 21, yeah, I'm almost done. Domain, everything except for +4. Range, everything except for -1, because again, the assumption is it'll approach -1, but it will never actually be -1. As x grows towards negative infinity or positive infinity, this will tend towards 0, but it won't become 0. Hence, we're left with -1. This is roster notation. Remember, mathematicians are sort of lazy sometimes. It's okay to simply say y doesn't equal -1, but if you want to throw this in braces, and then say, hi, my name is Y. Here's my resume. Y does not equal -1. Braces, the assumption is Y equals everything but -1. The x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis at 7, 0. The y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. How would you do this? You graphed it. No one will expect you to be able to tell here. But what you can definitely do is simply plug this in your calculator. Or even better, the y-intercept is what is y when x is 0. Calculate it when x is 0. So if they're asking what the y-intercept is, what does y equal when x is 0? So I'm plugging in 0 minus 4 minus 1 when x is 0. Y equals 3 over -4 minus 1. -0.75 minus 1, -1.75. When x is 0, that's where they get -1.75 from. Hopefully, I mean, this is y-intercept, people. That's, again, pre-algebra and algebra 1 level stuff. Extrema, none, because it doesn't, this has a minimum, not even a relative minimum, an absolute minimum. This doesn't have any extrema, so we say none. Increasing interval, none. It's not increasing anywhere. Here, it's increasing from, oh wow, what number is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's increasing from, I got 1, 2, 3. There's way too many typos in this thing. It's increasing from 3 to positive infinity, and it's decreasing from negative infinity to 3. That should be 3, not 4. Decreasing from negative infinity down. Notice this is what increasing looks like. If I'm walking uphill, if I'm walking downhill. I'm walking downhill, walking downhill. I'm walking downhill, or I'm sliding down. So that's why it's increasing nowhere, but it's decreasing from negative infinity to this influential point or line of demarcation, 1, 2, 3, 4, decreasing from negative infinity to 4 and from 4 to infinity. We don't do a union here because this isn't domain or range. We're just labeling things. So this is how you label things. And behavior as x tends towards negative infinity, the function tends towards -1. As x tends towards positive infinity, the function also tends towards -1. Here it's pretty obvious. Make sure for your absolute minimum, you label the coordinate 3, -4. That's it. That's it. I'll discuss 20 for those that are still here. If you're here, this is the function. Multiply my y values by 2/3, which is a number left between 0 and 1. So it's a vertical compression. It's going to shrink a little bit on the y-axis, like I'm stepping on it. Reflection over the y-axis, right 5. Reflection over the y-axis, right 5, and then finally up 2. That's it. Good luck on the test. Good luck on the quiz. All that good stuff. Bye, everyone. Have a good Monday or weekend or whatever day it is. Buen dia. How do I stop this?